Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 5th Kalpana Chawla Space Dialogue. Her Excellency Ambassador Alexander Deakley, Dr. Suresh, Mr. Rod Hilton, Dr. Shiftanu Pillai, who's been a supporter all these years. On behalf of all our partners, grand welcome to all of you. With Mercury, and when I speak in a space conference, when I say Mercury, I don't mean the planet, I mean the temperature. With Mercury touching 43 in April, I often wonder why would Raji want to hold a conference at a time in Delhi when no one wants to be here. And especially at a time when election debates are setting the temperature scorching even further. But Rajeshwari, our curator for this conference, has a sense of timing. And somehow I don't know how she does it. Every time she waits for that one big event which can anchor the whole conference. So if you remember the first time she managed to hold the dialogue to commemorate ISRO's feat of launching their swarm of 104 satellites using one rocket. And then last year, somehow she managed to persuade Elon Musk to launch the Falcon X just at the time, so that became the defining moment and everyone started talking about Falcon X. This time Raji rather naughtily chose the ASAT launch. And that I'm sure will become one of the topics for discussion. It has been generating a lot of heat even in this election season. But jokes apart, space is a busy sector. It has been a sector at the front line of innovations, and it is a sector where multiple players, many of them are trying to play catch up. So there is something always happening. So no matter when you hold a conference, there will not be one, but several momentous events around it, which always form the topics of discussions at these tables. Since the last time we met, last year at the 4th dialogue, the space community has seen many of these developments. The incredible Japanese, of course, entered the Guinness Book of World Records with the SS 525, which at 9.5 meters and weighing just 2.6 tons becomes the lightest and smallest launch vehicle. So that is something which happened last year. Then last year also actually saw 25% more launches than the previous year, and the prize for the largest number of launches, of course, no guesses, went to the Chinese. Who else? You had, for the first time, Chinese startups start entering the space race and start doing things over there, again trying to play catch up. But overall, the private sector also made some significant advances. Virgin Galactic's Spaceship 2 VSS Unity carried its first space passenger. That was February the 22nd this year, making space tourism a distinct possibility. And to make that affordable, SpaceX completed the first commercial launch of its reusable vehicle. So things have been hotting up on the commercial space scene. And now, rather than just supporting governments, New Space today is rapidly seeking to cover a large amount of new ground, seeding its own initiatives. So India also has had its fair share of achievements. The launch of India's heaviest satellite, the Big Bird GSAT-11, was one of them, which is supposed to boost broadband connectivity by enabling 16 Gbps data links across the country. Then we have had the launch of GSAT-7A, a military communication satellite. And other successful missions have included the launch of the 3.5-ton GSLV Mk3D2, carrying another communication satellite, the GSAT-29, and then of course the PSLV C-43, carrying high Earth observation satellites along with 30 others. And of course, the ASAT recently. But however impressive all these achievements may be, they do not blind all of us in the space community to the challenges the international space community faces. And the last year, rather than witnessing any easing of the international security requirement, has only seen a steady deterioration. And that has been happening over the years. Instead of moving forward, in many ways, we have been moving backward. The Conference on Disarmament in Geneva continues to be deadlocked. Discussions on various measures to prevent weaponization in outer space are not progressing anywhere. In fact, whatever agreements we had are also on the verge of breakdown. And the set of guidelines prepared by the UN subgroups within the Committee on Peaceful Uses of Outer Space haven't got the support of all countries. Similar is the state of the UN Group on Governmental Experts on Prevention of the Arms Race in Outer Space. That also has been ending without any consensus. The trouble is, at a time when technology, when the rapid shifts in technology are demanding more and more of global governance, we are seeing less and less of multilateral agreement or consensus. And that is the biggest problem. Last month, President Donald Trump signed Space Policy Directive 4, ordering the Pentagon to stand up a Space Force as a new branch of the US military. Well, this still will need to go through Congress, but the US is only attempting to follow the lead of China and Russia, who have already established their own space forces. Most of the 20th century actually saw outer space competition play out between the two large superpowers. But now we are seeing space technology and programs becoming far more ubiquitous, far more democratized. Sources of development have multiplied. But however, even though there may be a number of players, and they keep on increasing every year, including private commercial players, non-state agencies, the states themselves are far from being displaced. They remain major shapers of what happens in this area. Space has and always will remain an important factor in politics and power projection by states. And every advance by any nation or entrepreneur in this rapidly commercializing as well as militarizing frontier raises deep questions of international governance, international politics, and over the ethics of power. All our early editions have discussed many of these, and this year too, we shall be touching many of these themes. But we have picked out a few additional important themes for this particular edition. As you all know, this dialogue itself is named after a remarkable woman professional who made the ultimate sacrifice in the service of space, Kalpana Chawla. She may have been born in India and went on to the US to make a mark on the space program there. But as all spacefarers, she belongs not just to India or to the US, but she's a person who belongs to all of humanity, because she represents that primeval human aspiration of reaching to the stars. We have through these years been proud to host many remarkable women professionals in here, including Captain Sunita Williams. But beyond the iconic figures we all remember and celebrate, there are over 60 women who have gone into space, beginning with Valentina Tereshkova in 1963. And this remains a sector with many women scientists and entrepreneurs, many of whom we have been honored and are honored to have constantly in this dialogue. So this year, we have chosen women in space as one of our key themes. Another important theme, we've been talking about there being more disagreements than agreements in space. So an important theme that we have chosen this year is about space cooperation. We will particularly be looking at cooperation between India and Europe. We will be releasing a joint report with the ESPI tomorrow, which takes a deep dive into India-Europe space cooperation in various areas. And we are pleased to welcome the Director of ESPI, Dr. Jean-Jacques Totora, and other participants from ESPI for this. And I'm extremely happy to welcome Ambassador Ziegler for our inaugural address, for a conference which, while focusing on India's cooperation with Europe, will particularly look at what has been happening in our collaboration with France. The India-France space partnership dates to the early 1960s, when France gave India the license to manufacture the first sounding rockets. And we of course cannot forget the many ISRO launches carried out from French Guiana. Then the Paris Accord on Climate has seen ISRO and CNES become instrumental in bringing together space agencies of more than 60 countries to coordinate and share data to monitor greenhouse gas emissions. So I'm extremely glad that we have Ambassador Ziegler here with us to make the inaugural address. We have, after that, eminent speakers following him, but I would like to now invite Ambassador Ziegler to open this.